as a whole, we are not one of the top contenders, and so that's a concern.
After the State of the State, economic development leaders say new taxes are making Illinois less attractive for businesses.
Aesthetically speaking, if we're not even worried about skin cancers and such, but it's just the photo damage is going to age you quicker.
Newly proposed legislation will have local tanning salons feeling the heat if passed. ABC News Channel 15 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Loheis.
And I'm Doug Quick. Governor Quinn says after 3 years of tough decisions, Illinois is back on course. Democrat mainly focused on jobs and boosting the Illinois economy.
Andrew Hansen has more from Springfield.
Well, today's speech was overall very positive. The governor, however, didn't really have much to say about Illinois' budget woes, pensions, and Medicaid. Overall, generally speaking, he says those are serious issues and we need to tackle them soon. He will give specifics on how to address the financial nightmare later this month during his budget address. That's on February 22nd. Now about his speech. The governor focused a lot on education and investing in education. He supports raising the minimum attendance age for students to 18 years old. By the year 2025, he wants at least 60% of adults in Illinois to at least have a career certificate. Right now, it's 43%. Also,
research has shown that without an early childhood learning foundation, children fall behind in school. Illinois, we can't leave our youngest behind. And that's why I'm calling for a major investment in early childhood education this year.
Basic pay types of media.
The governor also urged lawmakers to make a more significant investment in state MAP scholarships, and he wants investments in more classrooms, calling for modern labs, smart technology, digital books, and high-speed internet access. Where Illinois will get the money to pay for all these education requests, that is unknown at this time. Reporting live at the Capitol, I'm Andrew Hansen. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Andrew. Quinn also spoke at length about creating jobs in Illinois. He offered 3 tax cuts, and he says that that will help the economy. Those include getting rid of the natural gas utility tax, providing a tax credit of $100 to a typical family of 4, and a hiring veterans tax credit.
But while tax credits please some businesses, a corporate income tax hike may have turned away others. It's also dropped Illinois on a list of the most business-friendly states.
ABC News Channel 15's AJ Byaport is in the newsroom. AJ, how many spots did Illinois drop?
Well, we dropped from 16th in the country to 28th. That's according to the Tax Foundation and its 2012 ranking of business tax climates. The state still has to find other ways to attract jobs. Small businesses also know in these times, well, they have to adapt. Marie Pribble hopes to find the right brew that'll turn around her coffee shop. Like the state, she can recall better days.
We went on, year after year, building our business and building our life in Danville, and then the recession.
With that, it got harder to sell a cup of joe.
People's salaries were just at a standstill. Some were losing their jobs. Some plants were closing. Some huge employers were leaving town. And we knew that that was going to affect us, and it sure did.
Vicki Hogan at Vermilion Advantage says it's harder to bring back those jobs when the state increases the cost of doing business.
We are not very competitive at all with Indiana, as we know from being on this side of the state with Kentucky, with Missouri.
Hogan says the state can still be attractive to companies and suggests Illinois offer rewards to businesses that help educate the workforce.
Continuing to strongly fund workforce training, whether it's through tax credits for business, whether it's assistance in grant funding.
Pribble worries more about pastries than policy, but she's still optimistic it'll get better for the state and her store.
Those that have stuck around, those that have stayed the course, are going to come back and be viable again and be a part of the community, a part of the economy, and contribute again, just like we always did.
Despite the optimism, there's still work to do. A report from the Illinois Policy Institute says in 2011, Illinois was just one of 4 states whose unemployment rate rose between January and December. At 0.8%, Illinois had the highest increase of the 4. In the newsroom tonight, AJ Bayapur, ABC News Channel 15.
Thanks, AJ. Vicki Hogan also says prospective businesses have told her the state's workers' comp policy is unacceptable. They say it's still too easy to cheat the system. Doug?
Well, it ended up being a pretty nice day across east central Illinois. We were looking at some low-level clouds, brought some of you perhaps some fog earlier this morning, but those clouds eventually did lift a bit, but it did filter sunshine, and in spite of that, we still saw temperatures well above what's typical for this time of year. No precipitation to report. Over east central Illinois, 41 degrees at the present time. Breezes out of the north at around 12 miles an hour at Willard Airport. Meanwhile, at the Vermilion Regional Airport, 41 degrees there with calm conditions. Tomorrow, well, another nice day. We expect to see a little more sunshine tomorrow. That'll help boost our temperatures again into at least the mid-50s. Don't be surprised if some locations might even see 60 tomorrow here within the viewing area. We'll check it all out for you. Storm Team 15 forecast is coming up. Liz, back to you.
Thanks so much, Doug. Local tanning salons could start to feel the heat if a new proposed legislation passes. Democratic Representative Robin Gable out of Evanston is sponsoring the bill called the Tanning Facility Permit Act. Some salon owners say this could put them out of business. ABC News Channel 15's Maureen Glisovic joins us live in the studio with more. Maureen?
Good evening, Liz. This bill would not permit any person under 18 years old to use a tanning bed at a salon, regardless of whether they have permission of a parent or guardian to tan. Currently, state laws allow anyone over the age of 14 with a parent's consent to tan. But if this law passes, some local salons will be losing money and clients. If passed, a newly proposed state legislation called the Tanning Facility Permit Act would ban anyone under the age of 18 years old from tanning at a salon, regardless of a parent or guardian's consent.
It's already heavily state regulated. You know, no one right now under the age of 18 can tan without a parent's consent, all the way down to 14. No one under the age of 14 can tan at all.
Copacabana tanning salon owner Kelly Collins says although most of her clients are over the age of 18, come peak season time to tan, she will lose business.
And some of that clientele who we are used to getting in, you know, on spring break, you know, homecomings and proms, those girls aren't going to be able to come in here anymore. And there are a lot of guys, too, that actually come in for that time of year.
Kids should be able to do what they want to do, to a limitation, you know what I'm saying, also. You know, for prom, that's the main reason why my daughter likes to tan. Her dances and her proms and things like that.
Although some may not agree with the possibility of no tanning for minors, an assistant in dermatology, Warren Lee, says no matter what age you tan, it's a risk.
Some people tend to think perhaps that because they're so young it's not going to happen to them, but in fact we actually see patients who have developed melanoma skin cancers at a young age, 20, 21, and that kind of thing. It's a cumulative effect. You know, it's if not now, down the road they'll wind up paying for it.
Now, I did ask Lee if tanning helps out with acne or skin conditions, and he said as a physician, he doesn't recommend going tanning to prevent or help with acne, although something interesting that they actually use ultraviolet radiation treatments to help patients with psoriasis inflammation. Liz, back to you.
Thanks, Maureen. Again, until the bill passes, current state laws allow anyone over the age of 14 to tan with a parent or guardian's signed consent.
Not waiting around for that opportunity to talk money are family members of Jacksonville Developmental Center residents. Instead, they rallied at the Capitol today, hoping for an opportunity to meet up with Governor Quinn. Earlier this year, Governor Quinn announced plans to move the residence and close that facility by early October. The state-run facility houses about 185 residents who are unable to care for themselves. JDC is the last facility of its kind in the central part of the state. Now, some family members say depending on where they can place the residents, they might have to drive as far as 150 miles to visit their relatives.
Superintendent Keith Oates from the Mahomet School District announced he's resigning and his last day will be June 30th. Oates says he wasn't actively seeking new employment but has taken a superintendent position at Marion School District in Marion, Illinois, and that will happen July 1st. We spoke to Oates earlier and he says, quote, "It's a unique opportunity to move into a larger district and be closer to extended families who reside in Marion, Southern Illinois, and Southeast Missouri." The Mahomet Seymour School Board will be meeting tonight with a search form to seek a new superintendent.
Family and friends came out one last time to remember the life of 16-year-old Austin Dyson. The Muhammad Christian Church held his celebration of life ceremony today. Muhammad Seymour High School provided buses and excused students from class to remember their friend and classmate. We talked on the phone briefly with the superintendent of the school, who said emotions were running high for both faculty and students.
We're 4 days from the Super Bowl, and the big game has yet to provide the boost some Danville hotels were hoping for. Last week, we visited a couple of hotels there. They had taken some reservations but hadn't sold out. We followed up with them today, and both are taking reservations. The GM at the Sleep Inn says it's because so many new hotels have been built around Indianapolis for the Super Bowl. He also worries the new hotels will hurt sales during the weekends of the Indy 500 and Brickyard 400. Traditionally, Danville hotels sell out for those events.
Starting tomorrow, traffic on Vine Street could affect your morning and evening commute. The Urbana-Champaign Sanitary District will be cleaning and lining the manholes that run along Vine Street starting tomorrow. That's at 7:30 in the morning and ending Friday evening at 7:30. Traffic will be affected from Fairlawn Drive to Oregon Street, where one or more lanes may be closed.
The numbers of participants for the Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon are up. Is the warm weather encouraging more people to get out and run?
And it's signing day across the nation. Hear from Tim Beckman on his first recruiting class at Illinois. That's still ahead in sports.
The fourth annual Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon is less than 3 months away, and already it looks like quite a few people plan to lace up their running shoes for this big event. ABC News Channel 15's James Fillmore joins us live in the studio with more. James?
Well, Liz, a co-director for the Christie Clinic Illinois Marathon, says so far numbers are up. As of this afternoon, over 12,000 people were already registered to participate in the event, which is about 1,000 more people than the same time last year. A price increase went into effect today, but before it did, over 3,500 people signed up for the marathon during the last 10 days. The co-director says interest in the marathon continues to grow and estimates that come race day, there will be 1,000 to 2,000 more participants than last year.
I think with it being the fourth year and we've had success the first 3 years, I think more and more people want to be involved. I actually think the nice weather this week has made more people cognizant of the fact that they want to be involved in some way.
Jan Seeley says the warm weather gives people more of an opportunity to train, and it may help to sway some people who are on the fence about running this year. Organizers have seen tremendous growth in both the 5K and 10K. Right now, the 5K has over 3,000 people signed up. There are around 1,300 in the 10K, close to 5,400 people registered for the half marathon, and roughly 1,800 people are ready to run the full marathon. The fourth annual Illinois Marathon runs April 26th through the 28th, with most of the races being held on Saturday, April 28th. Liz, back to you.
It's nice to see those big numbers. Thanks, James. Well, organizers are still looking for volunteers to help with the Illinois Marathon. To find out more information about how you can get involved, just log on to our website, WICD15.com, and click on Web Watch. Doug?
Well, in spite of the fact we were looking at some fog this morning and some clouds that filtered the sunshine throughout much of the day today, overall it was a pretty nice one. We saw high temperatures got up all the way into the 50s today. We expect 50s again tomorrow, maybe a little more sunshine, but we got some rain coming in for the weekend. We'll tell you about it. Storm Team 15 forecast is next. Welcome back to ABC News Channel 15, Sullivan Park Hill Tower Cam looking out to the southwest a little earlier this evening. And yes, that's fog and haze that we're seeing out there across the area. We've got a lot of moisture trapped at the lower levels of the atmosphere. And of course, that certainly contributed to the fog that some of you may have seen a little earlier this morning. Since then, though, well, it's been mid-level clouds throughout much of the day today, but it wasn't enough to keep us from a pretty nice day. Now, we started earlier this morning about 10 degrees to the less than we had it yesterday, 10 degrees cooler, 33 degrees the early morning low, 54 degrees the high this afternoon, just a few degrees less than we had it yesterday. So again, it was a pretty nice recovery today, and we're starting the month of February at 4/100ths of an inch of precipitation, what fell earlier this morning after midnight. And look at these highs today across the area. A little cooler up in Watseka, 49 there, but 50s elsewhere across the area, mid-50s in many locations. 41, though, currently in Champaign, 38 degrees in Watseka, 47 in Paris, 46 in the Mattoon-Charleston region, 41 degrees in Danville, 40 in Hoopeston, Jack Binney's Age in Rantoul and Gibson City, 42 in Monticello, 44 degrees in Tuscola. And here are the clouds that we were looking at. Again, no precipitation across the area. It may have looked threatening from time to time, but still, we were able to sneak a little sunshine through those clouds throughout the day. Looking across the Midwest, well, there's clouds pretty much everywhere. A little disturbance moving across the mid-Mississippi River Valley, but for us, just scattered clouds and mild conditions. We've got this nice long ridge of high pressure here, and that's keeping things not only clearer than what we would probably see at this time of year, but also warmer as well. Mild conditions will be with us as we finish out the week, but we're watching out to the southwest. The developing system across the southern Rockies and southern plains will eventually make its way up into our area. Fairly intense low pressure center. Ahead of that, a warm front. Promises to be rain for the most part, and that will be so intense we will be looking at some pretty breezy and windy conditions ahead of it. There is some snow out across the plains. The big question was, will that snow make its way into our area? Well, at the present time, it doesn't appear likely. We're going to continue to see temperatures above freezing, not only as we finish out the week, but also into the weekend. And that's certainly some good news as well. 33 degrees for the overnight tonight, reasonably mild conditions. Tomorrow, Groundhog Day. No, the groundhog won't be at Temple Plaza in downtown Danville, but if it was here, you might see a shadow tomorrow. We're expecting to see mostly sunny skies, 55 degrees for a high, 52 on Friday. Clouds will be on the increase. Here comes that storm system bringing us some rain as we get into the weekend. That's a look at your 7-day Storm Team 15 forecast. Stay with us. Sports is coming up next here on ABC News Channel 15.
Welcome back. It's National Signing Day across the country, and new Illini head coach Tim Beckman has finalized his first recruiting class. ABC News Channel 15's Mike Lederer joins us with more. Mike?
Well, Liz, Tim Beckman's first recruiting class, it includes 14 skill position players, 4 linemen, and a kicker. The group of 19 made official Wednesday on National Signing Day. Beckman's entire coaching staff and several players at Assembly Hall for a meet and greet with fans to introduce the class of 2016. Now, 14 of the 19 recruits came from Illini Nation, what Beckman calls the 5-hour radius around Champaign-Urbana. The group includes 6 players from Ohio, 5 from Illinois and Florida, and 1 each from Indiana, Michigan, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. It's a group Beckman is looking forward to having as part of Illini football.
I'm very excited about the type of individuals we got. We went out and were in search of players in a short amount of time that fit exactly what we want in an Illini football player. One that is going to be prompt and on time. Of course, Illini time is what we talk about. One that's going to be an excellent student and an excellent example out in the community. And then one, of course, that's a winner.
And one recruit Beckman went out of his way to praise his defensive tackle Vontrell Williams. The 6'2", 275-pound Williams chose Illinois over Indiana, Kansas, and Toledo, among others, and was a key to bringing this entire recruiting class together.
He was one of the first young men that committed really to the previous staff, but was involved in the Toledo recruiting when I was down there. I've known Vontrell for quite some time, but we put this recruiting class kind of in Vontrell's hands. We said, hey, you want to be known your senior year and known to be a champion? We need your help. And Vontrell Williams did an excellent job of reaching out and being involved in the recruiting process.
Now, the class of 2016 has played in over 160 high school playoff games and 7 state championships. Running back Dami Alua highlights 3 tailbacks for the Illini. Alua committed to Illinois over several schools, including Auburn. Defensive tackle Tico Powell, a 3-star defensive tackle who was a first-team All-State selection in Florida this year. 12 student athletes in the class posted a 3.0 GPA or above, with 2 greater than a 4.0. In total, the class averaged a 3.27 GPA. Defensive back Tavares Fuller and tight end Daniel Rhodes will enroll early and join the Illini for spring practice. And Champaign Centennial High School long snapper Michael Martin has committed to Illinois as a walk-on. That's it for sports. Liz, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. And here's a look at what's on tap for 10. We'll have more on the Illini's new recruiting class. Plus, Illinois basketball is fresh off their big win over 10th-ranked Michigan State. Hear from Coach Bruce Weber on the win, and we'll check in on Big Ten hoops with Indiana taking on Michigan.